Welcome to So Many Receipts. I'm Flo Michelle.
And I'm Shelley Seddon.
And we are two entertainment journos based in Sydney, Australia who love to analyse and talk about all things reality, TV and pop culture.
Each week on Receipt Roundup, we bring you our take on what's trending.
This week on the show, the crazy catfights on the Real Housewives of London reach deafening heights. The cringy Golden Bachelor talent show, drinks get thrown on Salt Lake City, and a drunk Sydney socialite on Below Deck Med.
And just to note, if you're watching the video version of our podcast, we're not in the studio this week because our producer Alex isn't feeling well, but we will be back in the studio next week.
Yes, get well, Alex. So due to some unfortunate timing, we had our three-week break from So Many Receipts while all the best episodes of The Real Housewives of London were happening. And now we're ready. We're already at part one of the reunion, which I thought was pretty entertaining for a new show reunion.
Yes, and because this isn't a Bravo show, we don't have Andy Cohen helming the reunion. We have a very pregnant Katherine Ryan. So I didn't know who she was, but apparently she is a Canadian comedian and a Housewives super fan.
I thought she was terrible. I mean, who made that casting call? I think the host always needs to be some kind of bitchy man because we had Alex Perry host Real Housewives of Sydney for a few reunions and he was great, right?
Yeah.
There are so many funny male comedians in the UK. This Catherine was so dull. I felt she was just too pregnant, too tired, and wanted a nap.
Well, Catherine did struggle to contain the mayhem because about 5 minutes into the reunion, all hell broke loose with a massive fight between Amanda and Juliet Angus, and three producers needed to come on stage and restore order.
No one was taking any notice of Catherine. She was dumbstruck.
I know, and I think the key to the whole Juliet Angus Amanda feud was revealed in the trailer for next week. So Amanda says, "You dropped me like a hot potato," and every time she talks about their feud, she gets teary.
So apparently this is due to a mutual friend of theirs that turned into a nightmare, right, for Amanda? And I
Yes.
think she's mad that Juliet sided with the friend, something like that.
Well, I think Amanda feels like cool girl Juliet rejected her and she's lashing out because she's hurt. I don't know if their friendship can be repaired because Amanda has gone so low. She's taking shots at Julia's marriage,
Mm.
finances, house, business, and her Paddington postcode. So
Oh,
she's
yeah.
also called her a drunk and a bad mother, etc. It's so nasty. I wouldn't trust her.
Yeah, so the scene from 2 episodes ago, like remember when they were at that outdoor pub? That was one of the worst fights I've ever seen on Housewives. It's actually way worse than anything on the Valley, and that is really saying something. Amanda actually reminds me of Ramona Singer. Like she went full Ramona. She fights dirty. Because when you're a mum, the worst insult in the world is being told you're a bad mother. I actually think maybe back when they were friends, Juliet might have divulged something about her struggles with motherhood and her daughter because Amanda keeps saying it and Juliet just doesn't address it directly.
Well, we also had another massive reunion couch screaming match between Panthea and Juliet Mayhew. So we go over the 7-year-old feud about Panthea's adult son's disastrous trip to Juliet Mayhew's dentist and borrowing dresses.
Yeah, so I finally understand well, I think I understand what this dentist fight is all about. And I'm on Panthea's side. So Panthea's son at the time went to the dentist to have his braces adjusted, but apparently there wasn't much to adjust. So instead, the dentist gave him 6 fillings instead and a massive bill, even though they never took any x-rays to confirm he had any cavities. And then Juliet Mayhew pipes up to defend the dentist. Big mistake. She should have just smiled politely and said, teeth look great. I think that is outrageous conduct from the dentist.
Well, I say, hold on. I
Okay.
want to hear from the dentist. So this whole thing doesn't add up. I seriously doubt Juliet Mayhew would be recommending a dodgy dentist and remain friends with them if this really happened, the way Panthea claims. I think the truth is somewhere in the middle here.
Yeah,
And
probably.
yeah, of course we need to talk about the fashion. So I was actually pleasantly surprised. I thought Nessie killed it, and Panthea and Juliet Angus also looked really good.
Oh, Juliet Angus was the best dressed. She's very attractive, actually.
Yeah, she's got great style. And I also liked Amanda's gold-plated top, but I just didn't think it worked paired with the white pants.
No, the white pants totally ruined it. Plus, she needs a new hairstylist. She ages 20 years when she does her hair in that huge, big puff
Mm.
ball. And her ex boyfriend is Andrew Ridgeley from Wham. Maybe they're both stuck in the 80s.
I just see all her spraying Aquanet all over. It's just
Yes.
so like hairspray. But I thought Juliet Mayhew and Karen, they were just too frou-frou. Like
Yes.
Karen looked like she was wearing two different dresses. I liked the bottom bit, but I would be interesting, to see if this show comes back because the Bravo Ladies of London reboot is also premiering soon. So they're gonna have some competition.
Yeah, and if we don't mention London again, this new show was fine. It didn't blow me away, but I think it does take time for audience to develop favorites or the hate watchers.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't mind it. It was fine, but I have to say, thank God Juliet Angus showed up in the middle of the season to spice things up.
Yes, yes. So on to the Golden Bachelor Australia and some surprising news.
Well, we've got Sunday, Bloody Sunday coming up. The Bear is sending 5 women home this Sunday, and there is a love bombshell as well.
Yeah, because the show only runs for 9 episodes, so the pressure is on to cull down these 19 women as soon as possible to get rid of the dead weight.
Yes. So, well, this week the Bear mustered some cattle, and Lauren, who was so desperate to get his attention, she stripped down to her bikini top to
Oh,
ride a horse. It definitely got his attention, but for all the
yes.
wrong reasons. I actually thought she was going to rupture an implant.
The bouncing boobs were something I can't unsee, but I didn't think he took that much attention. Maybe she should have just worn nipple pasties.
Well, at the end of the mustering challenge, it didn't work for Lauren because Bear ended up picking Bianca Dye for the one-on-one date, even though she couldn't ride a horse and had helmet hair. Bless. Bianca really opened up about her past and including her struggles with IVF, and she was just so lovely and authentic.
Yeah, she revealed she'd struggled with IVF for 10 years. That is so tough.
Yes. So also, sexy Greek goddess Gera scored us a date that consisted of puppy yoga and a picnic. But what I really loved about this week's shows was when Sam went to the mansion to hang out with the women and they all bonded over wine and
Mm.
a cheese platter. The ladies shared their stories and it was really moving.
And we even heard Sam reflect on some of her own mistakes in a very general sort of way. At first, I thought it was sad that Osher Ginsburg wasn't the host because he's always been the Bachelor host, and I think he's good. But seeing Sam with the women, I get that having a female host makes sense.
Yeah, so this is something I've never seen on a reality show before, the women bonding and supporting each other and holding hands. So one of my friends calls this women at the well. It's when women get together and they just naturally come together and support each other. And we also had another date this week. Terry scored the last solo date at Luna Park. And there was a Golden Bachelor talent show for the Cancer Council charity event where the women had to perform in cringy skits.
It was like Hey Hey It's Saturday all over again, like circa 1984. If Daryl and the ghost of Ozzy Ostrich had popped up, I wouldn't have been surprised. Plus, why was Bear barely laughing? He has no sense of humor. Was it because he was forced to have a fake prostate examination with Dr. Kim?
Yeah, that was especially cringy. And we also had Lauren and her lap dancing parrot that got spooked and went rogue, flying around the room and threatening to poop on the audience.
Who were a bunch of Channel 9's renter crowd, right? A few newsreaders thrown in and a few ex-reality stars, including Cam Merchant from Maths, who he took the brief so seriously. He had his mouth open the entire time in mock amazement. He gets the audience participation award.
Yes, for
You
sure, for
win
sure.
that, Cam.
And up on stage, Sunny revealed she'd beaten breast cancer, and her courage really seemed to move Bear. I think Sunny might be a dark horse. She seems to get a lot of one-on-one time.
Although I thought there were just too many scenes of her crying. Is that mean of me to say? I think they wheel her out whenever they need a serious mood shift.
Well, I did see a post saying Sam Armitage was surprised by Bear's final choice. I wonder if she's referring to Sunny, like, because who else would be a surprising final choice?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe one of the women in their 60s. Also, what surprised me is that Abbie Chatfield's mum, Laura, got the boot after
Yeah.
absolutely no airtime. I was really curious to see more of her personality, to see if she's like Abbie or not, but they just showed zilch.
Yeah, well, we did see Abby make an uncomfortable cameo at the talent show, and the bear didn't seem to make much of an impression on her. So she questioned his Canadian accent, and she said she was relieved that he wasn't American.
Because she generally hates Americans,
Well,
right?
we're not all bad.
She
And
was
then she
nice to
asked,
you when
yeah,
we met
yeah.
her.
Then she asked if he'd gone on a date with her mother, Laura, which was awkward because he hadn't. and she asked him why not.
But remember, he said at that point, "Oh, there's still time for a date." But I guess there wasn't.
Yeah,
Well, they
yeah.
didn't show anything anyway.
Yeah, well, she said she couldn't imagine doing karaoke at their family Christmases, and I had to agree. And I felt like she was cut off during her confessional because it ended really abruptly. It was very strange.
Yeah, and after all of that media hype about Laura, anyway, my picks to escape the Super Sunday cull are Gera, Bianca, Sunny, and Terry from the Luna Park date. But footnote, I'm always wrong. I always get these things wrong.
Well, so there is a rumor going around that Terry is the one who self-eliminates, which I find a very disturbing new term. It sounds like a laxative, self-eliminate.
Oh,
But basically, apparently she's the one who rejects Bear's rose. So we'll have to see if AI and the online gossip are correct.
oh, see, you see, I'm always wrong. I'm always wrong. I'd have no intuition. So, on to a Bravo show that is really delivering. The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, who take a cast trip to the below deck down under boat.
So this is the reality crossover we've all been waiting for. I think this trip is going to be an instant classic just from the first episode we've seen. We're currently seeing this trip from the Real Housewives perspective, and we will also get to see it from the below deck crew's perspective later.
Maybe it's going to go down in history like Scary Island did for
Yes.
Roni, right? Canyon Island, is that where we are? And we saw a classic Bravo move. Meredith threw a drink on Brittany after learning that she shaded her and Lisa to Bronwyn. Honestly, I live for an angry drink toss. Why don't we try that in real life one day for some
No,
fun?
thank you. No, thank you. Well, we already see poor Brittany drenched with water every time she speaks Jared's name.
Yeah, I love Brittany. She's fun, she's pretty, she's good sport. But why on earth is she flirting with Deckhand Mick, the guy with the worst hair in the world? It looks like a toupee or roadkill. I mean, is it even real?
Oh, I thought she was with Joao, not the
No,
blondie guy. No, I didn't even
no.
notice her flirting with Mick.
Mick's the dark-haired guy
Yeah,
that
no, no, I
keeps serving her
know.
drinks. She's flirting with
Oh,
him
she
too.
was at the bar. She was at the bar with him.
The
Yes, yes,
hair, I
yes.
don't even get the hair. It's like someone ran over him. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I think it's like a young person thing. I did read people talking about it. It's the style now.
I think
It's
she's
horrible.
I
It's
think she's
horrible.
man-starved anyway. Doesn't see enough of Jared.
Well, Angie,
Anyway,
Angie needs to intervene on this hair thing
yeah.
when she gets feels better anyway. But there is a huge fight between Heather and Lisa. So Bronwyn decides to come on the trip late, and most of the ladies think Lisa is the source of all the rumors about Bronwyn in the media. So Heather is the only one with balls enough, or the only one who has ingested enough cocktails to confront Lisa. And it leads to this epic dinner party meltdown. So I thought it was really fun watching the horrified below deck crew look on and try and serve them dinner during this. And poor
Yeah.
Chef Ben was just completely ignored.
But is it true? Is Lisa really the source of everything that gets leaked?
Well, I don't think Lisa is totally
Everything?
innocent. I mean, she has her lawyer guys and PIs on speed dial who will go the distance. And she did feed Angie info about Meredith's family and shoplifting and
Mm.
bankruptcies, etc. So she could dig up dirt, when they weren't getting along. But honestly, anyone can leak info to the press. These ladies, they're public figures, so.
Yeah, isn't it often a makeup artist or a photographer or someone
Hmm.
like that who's the source? So at first I thought, wow, Heather is such a bitch, but she seems so convinced of Lisa's guilt, and she was chummy with her last season. So perhaps she knows what Lisa's up to.
Hmm.
But it doesn't say a lot for her loyalty, trying to out her like this. I actually find Heather a bit annoying. It's like she wants to be the truth teller, but I'm sure she's just as shady as all of them are.
Well, Heather did say Lisa was smarter and darker than any of us can imagine. So I did think it was funny to see Heather straddling Captain Jason on one of those sea bob things.
Mm.
Like, go Heather. Wow. I was like, wow. And Heather and Whitney became friends with Captain Jason when they came here, down to Australia a few years ago for a HAYU event. And they hung out with Jason for a week. And apparently something happened between Heather and Jason.
I thought it was funny they had the underwater cameras on maybe
Yes.
what they were doing under the water. But you know what? I actually don't think Heather and Jason hooked up.
I totally think something happened. So,
Really?
yeah, Heather said this to Brittany after she'd been day drinking all day.
Oh,
And
she says, yeah,
well,
go on.
when they asked her about it in the confessional, she forgot she said it and immediately tried to get them to delete it. So she wanted to keep it a secret and it's out. But Captain Jason is going to be on Watch What Happens Live in a couple days.
I got the impression she meant they were just flirting. I mean, I don't really think she's his type. Adriana, I can see from Miami, but maybe not so much Heather. Also, can we talk about Bronwyn Newport's yellow rubber life raft dress? Are we over the wacky outfits yet? No one even comments that much about them anymore. I have a theory that her addiction for wearing these over the top couture outfits on both Real Housewives of Salt Lake and in her everyday life actually runs a lot deeper than just a love of fashion because I think this woman feels ignored and not seen.
Well, you can definitely sense how she feels ignored by her mother, by Todd, and even the other ladies in all these painful scenes this season.
Yeah, so I feel like she's saying, if you don't want to hear me, you can at least look at me. And I mean, don't get me wrong, the fashions are fabulous, right?
Yeah, I actually love her wacky outfits. They're fun to look at, and you kind of look forward to seeing what she's going to wear next.
You do, but I also think that all of her self-worth seems to be tied up in these clothes. And now those old clips of her greeting Todd at the airport, remember, dressed as a shark,
Yeah.
like a pig,
Yes.
a panda, they just make me cringe. I thought at the time when we didn't know her very well, oh, how quirky. But now in retrospect, it kind of feels a bit sad. Like she's so desperate for a reaction from her husband, she has to dress up like an animal. I mean, who does that?
Well, plus she tried to deflect again by saying the criminal charges were just some, things to do with unpaid rent on an apartment when she was 19. But at least the ladies did try and quiz her on the later charges.
Yeah, and the old, I can't talk about it because the case is sealed. You can talk about some aspects, in some circumstances, and at least she admitted it was to do with an old employer.
Yeah, I don't know if you can actually pay to seal a case, but if you can, I can totally see Todd doing that.
Oh, me too. He
Well,
would.
yeah, damage control for sure.
Yes.
And the preview for the next episode shows the fight continuing. We've mentioned Brittany hinting about a mistress, and I thought she might be talking about Todd, but it's Seth. I think Meredith might actually have a seizure for real.
Yeah, I mean, there's been rumors about their marriage before. I wonder if there's like some really good new dirt.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it.
Yeah. This next segment is brought to you by Budget Battlers, the new renovation reality series airing on 9 and 9 Now, hosted by former block contestants Jess Eva and Norm Hogan.
So we chatted to Jess on Deep Dive. She was fabulous. She's so funny.
Yeah.
And we talked to her about the show, her reno tips, working with her ex Norm, and also about living with ADHD.
The show helps deserving Aussie families by completely renovating their homes in just 5 days on a tight budget of around 10K per house with a good dose of community spirit and creativity.
So check out our chat on Deep Dive now and tune into Budget Battlers, which screens Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m.
So, Rose and Thorn time. Shell, what is your thorn?
My thorn goes to Below Deck Med because I think I have below deck fatigue.
I thought you loved, like, seriously loved this waterlogged franchise.
I dream of being a primary guest. I usually do, but I'm getting tired. We have
Oh,
Captain Sandy back. We have Aisha as Chief Stew. I like Aisha, but even she is getting on my nerves. And we have Nathan, who was a deckhand last season. He's been promoted to bosun. And I didn't really think much of Nathan. I couldn't believe when he hooked up with Gail, who was also a deckhand last season.
so Gail's the Aussie from WA, right?
Yes, I think she is one of the most beautiful women on Bravo. I can't believe she's not a model.
Instead, she's cleaning toilets for rich people on a boat.
Yes. So her and Nathan hooked up and had this boatmance. It didn't work, but they kept in touch. And we know from the teaser this season that they now have a baby together. But, however, we have some tea on the primary guest from the last few episodes. His name is Sydney socialite Jack Freeman. So he was also a guest on the second season of Below Deck Down Under. So I had no idea who he was, but he arrives on the boat after traveling through Europe with his entourage. He brings 7 suitcases and 40 pairs of shoes.
And he's so awful. He keeps requesting Szechuan chicken and caviar bumps and shots of vodka.
Yes, I actually think caviar bumps are the new charcuterie board. They're on every Bravo
Oh,
show.
yes, they are.
And so on the second night, after an 8-course meal, Jack once again drunkenly asks for Szechuan chicken. So his friends are embarrassed. The chef is clearly exhausted after being up for 20 hours cooking for this entitled twat. So they finally agree on truffle fries, which Jack is too drunk to eat by the time they arrive 10 minutes later.
So people on social media have been reviewing these episodes and described Jack as an insufferable pain and a bratty twink, which is
Well,
hilarious. I
yes,
laughed out
and
loud at that.
very accurate, very accurate. So everyone now wants to know more about this guy. And according to the Sunday Telegraph, apparently he's an interior designer, and publishing heir Charles Fairfax is planning to lodge a mysterious $1.1 million claim against him.
And it's also said that he's fallen out with that Lux listing guy, Simon Cohen, and the health guru, Jessica Siepel, the one that does the vitamins, right?
Yes, yes. Well, so the Telegraph questioned how he funds this jet set life, and apparently, shocker, it's a lot of smoke and mirrors,
Mm.
which a lot of people use on Bravo. Jack says he works very hard and becomes friends with these billionaire clients and enjoys all the perks that go with it. But to me, it's all a bit dodgy.
I think he's just from a rich family and is backed by daddy's credit card. But did you hear him in that scene bragging about that lunch that he said he went to in Paris with some friends? And the bill for three of them was 10,000 euros, which is
Mhm.
actually 17,000 Australian or $11,000 US. Like what? $6,000 per person for a
I guess,
lunch?
well, they must have been doing caviar bumps and drinking champagne, and that does add up very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, perhaps he meant the lunch was 1,000 euros, but I mean, he was so hammered, who knows?
Yeah.
I also thought it was so weird that he wanted to swim in the ocean in pitch black darkness, and deckhand Christian actually let him dip his feet into the water.
Exactly, because we all knew he'd probably fall in, and he did. The crew
Yeah.
had strict instructions not to let the guests go in the water. So I was afraid Jack wasn't going to surface. He was so wasted. He actually looked comatose if you watch his face. So
Yeah.
he survived and came up, and I can't believe Christian thought that this was a good idea.
Yeah, Captain Sandy was right to fire him. So
Yeah,
dangerous.
it's such a lawsuit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I have to sh give a shout out to Kizzy, the British stew. She is the new Solène. She wants to hook up with everyone on board. And she announced at the first dinner, crew dinner, on the first night, when she got off her last boat, she had contracted 3 STDs.
Yeah, like it was a badge of honor. I mean, ew,
I know. So
TMI.
This
Yeah.
makes Solène's cold sores look like nothing. And worse than that, she has 3 guys on the crew who have the hots for her. This didn't seem to phase them or put them off at all. I
Mm.
mean, kids these days.
Yeah, like crazy kids. So my rose this week is for a show that everyone's sort of forgotten about over the years. The premiere episode of season 7 of The Kardashians on Disney Plus. And look, actually these days, really nothing much happens. It's not full of drama like the early days. It's evolved into basically following around each of them from one business to the next. But I like that. It's kind of an easy watch.
Well, to me, this week was historic because after 27 seasons, this is the first time I have ever watched an episode of The Kardashians. I have somehow managed to avoid them for nearly 30 years. So the good news is I didn't despise this show like I thought I would.
Oh, hallelujah.
So actually thought everyone was likable, and I have to say everyone's skin was freaking amazing. Chris is facelift goals. It made me want to start a 10-step Korean skincare routine immediately.
I know. I mean, they're all plastic fantastic, but who cares when it's such good work,
Mhm.
right? So we see
Yeah.
Chris preparing to sell the family's Hidden Hills home, and she hosts this final dinner party.
I'm always shocked that they live in Hidden Hills and Calabasas around that area because it is so far away from LA. And with the traffic, getting anywhere would be an absolute nightmare. I just think it's weird. They would have to like stay in that Calabasas bubble.
Yeah, and we see Kim having an MRI scan for a small brain aneurysm, which she feels developed due to stress. Look, I am actually a big Kim fan. I think what she's achieved is incredible, and also for putting up with Kanye the nutbag.
Well, see, the thing is, like, did I ever tell you when I split up with my first husband, who you know, I
Mm.
briefly lived next door to Kanye's right-hand man in LA, who was also his cousin.
What? No.
I know.
Oh my God, what?
Yes. And so this guy, he drove,
Kanye's cousin.
yeah, and he drove a convertible and he had the soft top on the convertible. It was made out of Louis Vuitton's signature brown canvas. I've never seen anything like it. It was crazy.
What?
So he asked me out, and I remember thinking, there is no way I want to get anywhere near that Kanye crazy train.
Oh, but you should have. You could have been part of the inner workings, the circle. You could have
So
been in.
but this was in 2009, and Kim
Yeah.
started dating Kanye in 2012. So everyone knew the guy was nuts, even back then, yet she still had 4 kids with him.
Because she really actually wanted to be with someone famous. And Chris Humphries, that remember that minor
Yeah,
basketballer she was married to for 72 days. He just wasn't famous enough.
yeah,
But I think she just thought Kanye was eccentric back then. I don't think she or anyone had any idea that his bipolar would go ballistic. But I do also have to mention poor Scott Disick, who looks and sounds about 75 years old. Can we please get him a Zimmer frame or a rug for his knees or something? Now he's telling Chloe he wants to move back to New York and maybe
mm,
take Mason with him to go to school there. I can't see Courtney allowing that. Plus, he'd then only see his other kids every now and then, like a few times a
yeah,
year. Like maybe that's just a storyline because he can't think of anything to say and he still wants to earn that filming paycheck. But it was
yeah. So,
weird.
well, I have to say, Scott Disick is an example of Ozempic gone wrong. He looks totally
He
haggard.
looks so bad.
Yeah.
And it's
And
almost
so
slowed him down as well.
yeah. So I may dip in and out of this show, but I probably won't be tuning in regularly. I really don't need to keep up with the Kardashians.
Okay, okay. I'll just
So
watch it. I'll fill you in.
yeah, let me know if anything happens.
Yeah.
Anyway, my rose this week is a shocker. It goes to the Real Housewives of Orange County. It's like, I
Mm,
know, hell must have
right.
frozen over because I actually enjoyed the episodes in Amsterdam.
Oh, I didn't. But you've been saying all season long that this is so boring this
It
season.
is.
Why has Amsterdam cheered you up so much?
It cheered me up because I actually laughed out loud like several times, mostly at Shannon's expense. But
Uh-huh.
when Emily said Shannon ate a space cake and she thought Shannon was a space cake, I thought that was funny.
Yeah, but I don't believe Shannon's shtick because she sometimes pretends stuff for the sake of a comic moment. I wasn't actually convinced she was terribly high. But meanwhile, Heather, diehard marijuana lover, goes off to smoke a joint. But why don't we ever see her bent? Or if she was bent, her personality is exactly the same.
I disagree. Like when her and Gina were high, like they were tiptoeing through the tulips. The flowers were crying. Thank the producers like gave us, these graphics of,
I didn't
I
think
thought it
she
was
was any
great.
different. Okay.
I thought it was funny. I thought I loved them. I think the
Okay.
whole cast needs to get high and then I can watch this
All
show.
right.
So, and I also thought those hats they were wearing while they were cruising in those horrible hot tubs down the canals in Amsterdam, the hats were so funny. Moister than an
Hmm.
oyster. Like I was so surprised that Shannon agreed to wear that. She must have really been high.
Yeah, well, it was funny, but for me, it was kind of like an episode of Getaway. It did make me think about visiting Amsterdam because I was thinking, wow, those tulips really are very pretty. But the penis ceramic painting session, yet another cringy Bravo crafting scene. None
Yes,
of
that
these
was
women are
awful.
into crafts,
I know.
art,
I know.
painting, sewing. They always just haul them off to do something like that from time to time.
Yes. And once again, we have to talk about the fashion, or should I say lack of fashion. These women all needed to be arrested by the fashion police. It is Halloween today, and the black hooker inspired outfits were truly frightening.
They were very costumey and gimmicky and they were terrifying. I
Mhm.
can't believe they walked through the Amsterdam streets in public. Some of these women are almost 60.
Like, doesn't anyone have access to a full-length mirror? I get that they're going to the red light district, but you wouldn't you have an appropriate outfit to wear during the day while you're touring the canals and going out to dinner and then change? It's like they were all bad, but I have to say, Emily gets worse dressed. She was wearing some spider web cutout catastrophe,
Well, I was spooked. You could see all the fleshy bits in the holes.
and she had a huge bruise on her leg. I'm like, girl, cover that up with some makeup.
Oh, and also remember Jen was in one of those naked dresses where you see the bodysuit, but it was a thong bodysuit with her
Yeah.
butt cheeks on display. I actually gasped when they filmed her from the back. I was like,
Yeah,
ugh.
It was pretty
What?
shocking. Yes, I did too. And so Potomac, you are now officially the second worst Real Housewives franchise. Like I read a funny comment saying that this cast is the epitome of why other countries hate Americans. I can totally see it now. And we've also heard that the season ends on a very dark note, and it looks like some of Gretchen's social media interactions are coming back to haunt her. And we have
Mm.
mentioned before that, she's liked and commented on some anti-gay and trans posts. So I'm guessing that's what they're referring to. And Heather did look very upset in the preview for next week.
Yeah, see, all the genuinely interesting stuff happened way too late.
Yes, well, I just hope God-fearing Gretchers gets canceled.
Yeah, I think she will.
And also, Bravo now made a curious move with the Real Housewives of Orange County at BravoCon this year.
Oh, I mean, what do you mean?
Well,
They
there
said
isn't an
something?
there isn't an OC panel at BravoCon, but there's a
Oh,
panel for every other Housewives show. And some people are saying that's a clear indication that the show's going to be put on pause.
or else maybe cancelled for good. I mean, yeah, that's not a good sign.
Well, they haven't gotten good feedback from viewers this season.
Well, the season was just too strange and strangely dull. But it's a shame because OC is a classic, and this is kind of like what happened to New York, right? The OGs had a dud season, and then they all got cancelled. I think Heather wants to move on, but people like Emily and Gina who just depend on this show with their life, it's their one shot of fame. They should be worried.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, ending with another rose, a new doco on Stan and Nine now called Selling Sex, produced by Nine, about the rise of OnlyFans and adult content creators. And it's an interesting watch if you're curious. I think Stan is supposed to be like Channel Nine's naughty cousin because this is the second doco Stan has aired, which features Bonnie Blue.
Yes. And also Stan's exclusively airing a new Married at First Sight spinoff next year called Maths After the Dinner Party, which is supposedly juicy. I hope it is.
Yeah, so this doco follows creators such as Annie Knight, who says she earns about $300,000 a month, revealing the marketing pressures and personal toll.
So I don't think anything can shock me after watching the Bonnie Blue doco 1000 Men and Me, which we've covered before. And I didn't know much about Australia's most sexually attractive woman, Annie Knight. I've only just seen the headlines about her in the Daily Mail.
It was Australia's most sexually active woman. You said
What
most
did I say?
sexually attractive woman.
Oh, did I?
She's just
Oh,
she's just
she's both.
active.
She's both. She is very pretty.
Well, look, they kind of are, but they're kind of actually a little bit ordinary looking as well. I think they sort of seem aspirational because it's almost like, well, anyone can be an OnlyFans star. You don't have to be the most beautiful woman in the world. We do see Annie do her OnlyFans stunt where she slept with 583 men on the Gold Coast in a day, whereas Bonnie slept with 1,057 men in London in a day. I mean, I guess Australia just doesn't have the numbers. Plus, I think for her sake, it was good that all these men were wearing pink balaclavas because by the look of some of the bodies, I don't think some of them were terribly attractive.
I like disgusting. I was just looking at their footwear, all the Crocs and
Yes.
Birkenstocks and
The
hairy legs.
slides.
It's
Yeah.
disgusting.
Yeah.
So I actually worry about the young boys who are addicted to online porn because it's so readily available. It's like, how are they going to have healthy sexual relationships with their partners when outrageous things like this are normalized?
And actually, our old friend Amanda Goff also pops up. And one of her questions is, where does it all end? Is someone going to go for 2,000 men or 3,000 men eventually? So we met Amanda when she was a journalist just like us. And one day she announced she was going to be an escort, which just shocked everyone, remember? But
Yes.
she went on to have a really successful career as escort Samantha X. And now she's back to being a journo for the Daily Mail. She's an author. She's also a Pilates instructor. Times
So
have moved
Amanda,
on.
yes, Amanda also mentions, that you do have to be very careful about getting into the industry and being on a public platform like OnlyFans, because even if you get out of it, you're always going to be known as a former sex worker.
Yeah, see, that's the big difference these days because if you do want to make a lot of money, you kind of have to go public to get the notoriety. I was also a bit worried for the Olympic rower Robbie Manson, who was in it, who, like a lot of athletes, is now featuring their pictures on OnlyFans because they need the money. They don't get
Yeah.
enough funding. There's not enough funding in sport. And these are pictures of him shirtless, but he also does nudes for paid views. I'm assuming that's what he meant for private views. And he admits it's a slippery slope because if the money's there, right, you would probably get tempted to reveal more and more. And then where does
Yeah.
it kind of end?
Yeah, and I've also said before that I worry about the young girls who aspire to be like Bonnie Blue and Annie Knight. It's like Bonnie and Annie seem fine. They're savvy businesswomen, but what about the girls who aren't as strong physically and mentally
Hmm.
or as smart and savvy and they get taken advantage of.
Well, they had that psychologist on saying that she now is seeing people coming off OnlyFans and they're a mess and
Yeah.
they're not knowing how to navigate the rest of their life.
Yeah, so I'm very much like you do you, whatever floats your boat, but you just need to know what you're in for.
You do. You need to be able to handle whatever comes along. But the problem is, how do you know how you feel about it in 10 or 20 years' time? Anyway, I thought it was an interesting watch, but if it's not your thing, give this one a miss. So that is it for this week. Thanks for listening. I'm Fleur Michelle.
And I'm Shelley Seddon.
Join us next week for So Many Receipts.